These families are fleeing and making their way to Chad. Many are traumatized, having witnessed war in Darfur, where there are mass killings, rapes, and widespread destruction. Those left behind wake up not to the call of prayer, but to the sound of gunfire. Yusuf Omar escaped with his family from El Jaina, West Sudan, to Chad's refugee camp in January.
They shot and killed many of us and took all our belongings. They left us with absolutely nothing apart from the clothes on our backs. They took everything from our cart and all our food supplies.
The fighting between the Sudan Armed Forces and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces has caused a humanitarian crisis. 25 million people need humanitarian assistance, including food and clean water. 18 million people are facing acute hunger, with nearly 2 million people already on the brink of starvation. 11 million people have been uprooted from their homes since the conflict began. And 1.7 million people have fled to 5 neighboring countries. Aid agencies are struggling to cope with the thousands who arrive every day seeking shelter and safety in South Sudan and Chad refugee camps. But they're also struggling to get aid to those who remain behind.
We suffer from severe water shortages. Some people brought us large containers to fill them with water. They say they will fix the taps. Also, the toilets are horrible there and they need to remove the waste. We have received no aid supplies from outside Sudan.
Human rights groups accuse both warring parties of targeting civilians and restricting aid delivery. 2 aid convoys crossed the border to reach Darfur earlier this month. They are the first WFP trucks since February, after authorities in Port Sudan closed the humanitarian corridors from neighboring Chad. Several talks brokered by Saudi Arabia, the United States, and the regional bloc IGAD, plus an Egyptian initiative, have all failed to bring the warring parties to the negotiating table. Turkey and Libya also offered to mediate indirect talks. In early March, the UN adopted a resolution calling for a Ramadan ceasefire, but the cessation of hostilities was ignored.
Nearly a year since this crisis began, the situation in Sudan remains catastrophic, and it is only getting worse. Right now, just 5% of the UN's humanitarian appeal for Sudan has been met.
In many cities, whole neighborhoods have been reduced to rubble. And all the while, millions face hunger and violence as the worst displacement crisis globally continues and the world looks the other way. Brenda Radido, TRT World.